What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Heath Mullikin Project, the podcast where we're helping you discover your purpose, your passion, and your possibilities. On the last episode, I was talking about guarding your heart, some things you can do to guard your heart, why you need to guard your heart, what that looks like. And as I was recording that podcast, I was reminded of something that the Lord is working on in my life right now. And I thought, man, that's a whole nother, I don't want to chase that rabbit. It's a whole nother episode. And it flows from that verse, that out of the heart is where everything flows out of the mouth. And something that the Lord has been dealing with me in 2025 is what comes out of my mouth. And we're not just talking about, most of the time when people's like, well, watch what comes out of your mouth, they're thinking profanity, or gossip, or lies, or harshness, things like that. And for me, it was simply information. I had some the thing about doing a podcast that is available to 8 billion people on the internet is you can share anything you want, but the whole point of what I'm going through right now is not sharing everything with everybody. But I had some situations where I had shared information in a wrong way, in a wrong setting. I shared information that I thought would help a situation. And I was wrong. And it created a good bit of chaos for multiple people. And I had to offer apologies. It was a mess I had to clean up. And it was, again, apologies, humbling myself, submitting myself to authority. Again, I didn't share anything that was untrue. I didn't share gossip. I shared, anyway. You don't need to know all the details, but it was hard. It was hard. And then I was in a situation where I shared something personal. Well, it wasn't necessarily personal, but I shared something in confidence that then a third party comes to me and asks me about this thing that only this one other person knew. And it devastated me. And I didn't confront any, here's this thing you're hearing, and they only heard it from one person, and that person heard it from you. And again, not gossip, nothing bad, nothing like that. It was just something that happened that I'd shared. It was something that had happened to me. And so in both instances, in a sense, somebody else's business and my own business, me taking responsibility for that, me sharing those two things, both led to some hurt in my life. And even if it's something as innocent of, my friend Jimmy, let me just say this. I don't know what it is, but if I'm ever using a hypothetical, here's a little comedy break for you, because this is a serious topic. Whenever I'm kind of sharing like a hypothetical situation and use a hypothetical person, it's always Jimmy or Tommy. I don't know why. I have friends named Jimmy. I have an uncle named Jimmy. I have friends named Jimmy and Tommy. I don't know why always it's Jimmy and Tommy. Although at church today, I used an example of a guy named Bill, because there wasn't any. I said, is there anybody named Bill here today? Well, that's who's going to be the example. That's neither here nor there. That probably should have saved that for the next comedy outing. Where was I going with that? anyway, let's just say you got Jimmy and you're having breakfast with Jimmy, and Jimmy says, "Hey, man, my daughter bought a red car." Oh, that's awesome. Well, then you're having lunch with Tommy, and Tommy knows Jimmy, and Tommy knows Jimmy's daughter. And hey, man, did you hear that Jimmy's daughter got a red car? Well, Jimmy may not want everybody to know that his daughter got a red car. Again, I'm not gossiping. I'm not sharing anything that's not true. But what the Lord is challenging me on is that's not my news to share. And even more so than that, not just guarding my mouth against other people's news and life events. And listen, I know there's somebody watching this. Let me just go ahead and disclaimer this. I know there's somebody watching this. Well, he just the other day, da-da-da-da-da. Sometimes there's situations you have to work through. There's things you got to talk about. Again, it's not gossip. It's issues. It's obstacles. It's opportunities. And you have to have discussions. And there's a right time and there's a wrong time. And what I'm talking about is sharing the wrong thing at the wrong time. And it's, again, like I said, sometimes it's not even a serious thing. But the Lord is also, and let me tell you, I want to encourage you. This is supposed to be encouraging. The more that I do that, the more that I catch myself, it's like a muscle you exercise. And I've caught myself, especially with personal things, I don't share personal things with everybody anymore. You'd say, well, that's pretty weird, Heath, because you've shared a lot on this podcast. This is true. You got me. But there are a lot of personal details in my life that good news, good things. I'm not even talking about bad things. But there's good things where I'm talking to somebody and I'm getting ready to share, and I feel just a kind of a twinge in my spirit of, do they really need to know that? Again, if you listen to the last episode, does this person have VIP access? What information in my life goes to that core, goes to that community, and goes to that crowd? And that's what I'm thinking through. And every time that I've kind of felt, I'm gonna hold my tongue, not gonna say, again, mostly good things. Sometimes it is somebody's sharing some frustration about something or someone, and you had a similar experience, and there's an opportunity to pile on, and you don't. And every time I've done that, I can physically feel something happens in my brain. I don't know. I need to do the research on, maybe that's a dopamine hit. But I physically am feeling that now when I make the choice of, I'm having this thought and I am not going to say it. And again, we're not even talking about, listen, do I still put my foot in my mouth? Yes. Working on that as well. When you're constantly trying to be the funny guy, and maybe that's something I need to work on too, you're going to put your foot in your mouth. That's just a fact of life. But I think as we, like I said, as I've gone through this exercise, I get a physical sensation when I have a thought, nope, not going to tell them. Again, I have accountability partners in my life who can ask me anything. And if they ask me, hey, unlock your phone and hand it to me, boom, they're going to get that. And if whatever question they ask, they're going to get an answer. So I've got that in my life. I've got people I share things with. I was hanging out with a friend yesterday, and this is someone who does have VIP access, and I had not seen them in about a month. And I was so excited because I had a litany of things that I was going to share with him that I had not shared with a lot of people. And this is going to sound like completely psycho. I actually, in one of my journals, made a list. I made my VIP access list. And some of it is in circles. Okay, these people get this information, and these people get this information. And outside of that, nobody else is getting that information. And for me, going back to the last episode, that's how I'm guarding my heart. But I also, I think Newman from Seinfeld said it best. When you control the mail, you control information. And I'm responsible for the information flow that comes out of my life. And I was not doing a good job of that. And I also was not, confession time, I was not doing a good job of guarding the things that people were sharing with me. And there's been times that it slipped by accident. And there's been time that and I'm going to say it, where I sinfully shared something I should not have shared. And I've had to ask for forgiveness for that. And I have gotten called out for that. I have been rebuked for that. And I had to ask for forgiveness. And I've had to say, how do I make this right? How do I make restitution? And sometimes you can't. And sometimes when you break trust like that, that person may say, you know what? There's probably people who are saying, Heath Mullikin does not get VIP access to my heart anymore. Heath Mullikin does not get access to my information anymore because he's proven to be untrustworthy with it. And that's on me. And that's a sad thing that I have to live with, not blaming them. Again, these are things that the Lord is working on me on because I want to be, above all, a safe place for people to talk, for people to vent. Part of my job as a pastor all these years is people tell you things, they confess things that they don't share, they don't confess to other people. And I've guarded a lot of things. And there's been times that I failed in that. And I'm trying to do better. And I think this episode, if you haven't watched the last episode about guarding your heart, they go right together. Because again, the more I guard my heart, it's going to protect what comes out of my mouth, and vice versa. So I mean, again, this is just what I'm working on. I don't know what you're working on, but I know that I can't fully invest in people and fully help people discover their purpose, passion, and possibilities if I'm not guarding my heart and guarding my mouth, if I'm not protecting what I share, if I'm not being a good example in what I share with people. Because I think at the end of the day, a lot of us just want to be liked. And one of the ways we become liked is by sharing information with people. And sometimes it's information about other people. Sometimes it's information about ourselves. And sometimes it's an opinion that we know will appeal to the other person. And sometimes you can't share any of those things. And that's why you got to have discernment. And discernment, which is that power of the Holy Spirit to be able to test, is this good or evil? Is this right or wrong? Discernment helps me distill and filter what's going in and what's going out. Nothing will short circuit your purpose, your passion, or your possibilities more than what comes out of your mouth. Because if you're found not to be trustworthy, if you're found to be a negative nanny or whatever they say, if you're found to just be a negative, toxic person who spews venom and poison and words of death, that is not how you progress in life. And most of the time, oh man, most of the time, negative people find a reason or a person outside of themselves. When their purpose, passion, and possibilities are all out of whack. Just a fact of life. So that's why you have to guard what comes out of your mouth. Because I would be absolutely devastated if I heard a month from now, 10 months from now, 10 years from now, that I said or did something that caused somebody to get off the path, that caused somebody to get off the narrow road, that caused somebody to doubt their purpose, their passion, and their possibilities. It would absolutely wreck me. And that's why I'm working on this. Because I want to speak words of life. I want to speak words of truth to my children, to my family, to my friends. If the Lord ever allows me to be in a relationship again. I'm recording this on March the 2nd, 2025. I want to be the biggest encourager for that person. I want to be their biggest cheerleader. I don't want to argue about stupid stuff. I don't want to tear down somebody's dreams or the reason they didn't do what they knew they were supposed to do. Nah. What are you doing? What are you doing right now, today, in this moment, to discover your purpose, your passion, and possibilities? Maybe you've discovered those. Maybe you know your purpose. Maybe you know your passion, and maybe the possibilities are boom, 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 opening up. But if you don't guard your heart and you don't guard your mouth, all that stuff could come tumbling down, crashing down, and that's not good for anybody. Thank God we can rebuild. Thank God if we're built on a firm foundation, He picks us up. He can restore us. He can redeem our story. Thank the Lord. Praise the Lord. I'm so grateful. Thanks for listening. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for supporting the show. Leave a comment whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube or wherever. Leave us a review, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or any other podcast app that I don't know about, Podcast FM or something. There's all these different podcasts. Is Google Podcast still a thing? There was one of those that kind of went the way of the dodo bird. Anyway, YouTube, Facebook, leave a comment, like it, share it, tell somebody about it, tell your mama, tell your daddy, tell everybody. I don't care. And I just appreciate your support. I appreciate this platform. Don't forget, coming up April 2025, we'll be talking about the nuts and bolts, the recipe of starting and creating and producing a podcast. I'm very excited. I'm spending this month getting the content ready, filming the videos. I got some great ideas. I'm so pumped. So you got to make sure you're subscribed. You got to make sure you're part of the in group. And I've already had a couple people message me, hey, I'm really interested in this. And one of the things we're doing coming out of that is we will be setting up like a Zoom call just to encourage people to kind of create like a little group. This is all going to be absolutely free, not charging you a penny. There'll be opportunities to support the show. Let's just say that, because I'll be talking about podcast equipment, and there'll be affiliate links. If you buy podcast equipment, that helps me out. But I'm going to show you how to do a podcast without having any equipment. And so just really, really excited for what God is doing. Man, God is doing some amazing things in my life. He's doing amazing work. It's hard work. There have been days when I physically feel it. And I know I'm talking about that all the time, and that's just the truth, man. There's days when I physically feel it, but so good. It's so good. So thank you so much for supporting the Heath Mullikin Project. God bless, and we'll see you soon.